you'd like me to just introduce, Pelican is a I think I mentioned at the beginning of the event. It is a trading platform, communication platform, in the form of an app which you can download for free onto your smartphone, and then join up to various mentors' private groups and get the benefit of their signals and their teaching through that. It's a very convenient, user-friendly app, so you can actually look and search for groups based on the mentor, or even based on particular asset classes. If you're very hot on the trading the cable, then you'll find a group based on that, or the FTSE, any one of these groups. It is free. Yat's asking. It's a free. You simply download it. I'll put the link in the chat box now for you to just go ahead and download it. And consequently, if you download that, it only takes a few minutes. The first thing to do would be to search for our group, which is the Round the Clock Trader group, and everybody's partaking in that, and we're having a bit of a conversation ongoing in that all the time. A little bit almost like watching Question Time, and the conversation going on online as well at the same time as the live program. So Peter, you probably do a much better job than I can, but you're
I can't thank you enough for that, and that's a lovely introduction. Thank you, Simon. As you say, it's completely free to download. I'm sure quite a lot of people listening and kindly giving up some time on their Thursday afternoon will have already downloaded it and have a profile up on Pelican. We are a broker. We're not simply a social forum for traders, although as you'll hear, that's very much part of it. So I think I should probably get on with the first slide, how to identify and connect with the best mentors, educators, and pro traders. So what we're trying to do at Pelican is connect the world of the pro trader and the mentor with traders of varying levels on their journey to reach their trading and ultimately financial goals. The starting point perhaps with this whole topic is why do you want to take control of your own money? Now, a lot of people, most people have a pension of some kind. Some people decide to manage that in a SIPP. If you take the step into trading, you have to decide how much time you're willing to give to that. Now, you might, at the top end of the tree, you'd have the pro trader who derives his whole income from trading. So his no 9 to 5er, he can completely concentrate, and that's it. Lower down the scale, it might be a second income for school fees, second car, holiday, and finally it could be a means of hedging an existing portfolio. Now, that's a more technical thing to attempt. It's less common, rarer. We don't see so many of those. But what we're trying to do at Pelican is help all of those people find the right mentor. So that's why it's so important to connect with the educator that suits your goal. If you want to be a pro trader and derive all your time from it, there are mentors we can put you in touch with. If you're looking to do it as something of a second job, again, there are mentors that are excellent at that. And finally, if you want to technically hedge your portfolio, there are people that can help you there. And I think on the whole topic of managing one's own funds, certainly everyone at Pelican, certainly well myself and the two founders, Mike and Peter Reed, have all worked in the financial industry. And I'm afraid the reality is that not all IFAs and stockbrokers have your interests at heart. Many of them use their clients as a money-making machine. Not all by any means. I'm not saying they're all bad eggs by any means, but there's a strong profit motive and reason, of course, for all these companies to make money out of their clients. That adversely affects your performance, and that's why more and more people are sensibly deciding to manage their own money, whether that be through traditional stocks and shares or what we're talking about now, which is trading. I think Simon's in control of the slides, if you could kindly skip that one. So that is not a picture of me, it's a picture of Mike Reed, director at Pelican. say his background, just briefly go through our background. So he's a qualified fund manager, and he did corporate finance at Evolution, which specialized in the AIM stocks, or the team he was in specialized in the AIM stocks. So that's himself, Mike, and Peter, his brother, who founded the company. Peter worked for Chenkos as an analyst, as an equity analyst. All of us trade. None of us are professional traders, of course. Peter really probably trades the most. He, when I say the most, spends the most time on it. He, interestingly, when he was an equity analyst, of course, he spent most of his time studying stocks on a fundamental basis. And one of the reasons he started up Pelican is because he became very interested in the technical sides of things, selecting stocks on a technical basis. He, as it happens, follows a mentor called Zahir Anwari, the dynamic trader. And yes, so that's that. I run my own background in stockbroking. I'm learning how to trade, like many people listening. And it's a fascinating topic. So I think perhaps if we get to the next slide, we will see what's going on there. Why do people trade the markets? Of course, the ultimate goal is to make money. When you do, what we are saying is when you do anything, you want to find an expert. I've already been through most of these things, so I think we'll go straight on to the next slide, if that's okay. Already been through income, extension of earnings, hedging. Yeah, so really at Pelican, sorry, back one, really learn from an expert. So unlike the other platforms out there, you know, that have the existing selection of shares, selection of markets you can trade, what doesn't happen at these brokers is the ability to learn from an expert, to get put in touch with a mentor. Now, you could try trial and error. You could take advice from a friend who has a bit of financial knowledge. You could, at an extreme end, buy a system, an EA package that plugs in to your computer and just gives you the trades. You could try learning yourself. Now, probably I'd have thought, if in the event you don't want to go down the mental route, learning completely on yourself would be the best one of those. And that would mean going to a bookshop, reading up on the subject, and making your own mistakes. However, at Pelican, we're firm believers that by getting advice from some of the great mentors who you're hearing speaking on the webinar today is the best route to go down. And if you can find the best one of those for you, that's 100% fit for your needs, it's going to be money well spent and save you a lot of money. It's unbelievable. You know, most mentors say this, you know, when you start off trading, you're going to lose money. And I think that's probably right, actually. When you start off doing your own trades, your own thoughts, you are going to start losing. The way it's about turning that around and becoming a profitable trader, starting small, turning it around, practicing on a demo account, following a mentor on Pelican. So learning from an expert. The next slide is, please, Simon. Thank you. So what is on offer out there in terms of mentors? Well, the answer is it can be the Wild West. If you randomly look up, learn how to trade on the internet, you'll see the huge number of hits you get. The terrifying thing is this is all unregulated. Sorry, all unaudited. There's no central market to make comparisons. There are, of course, some great mentors. There are, I'm afraid, some awful mentors. However, at Pelican, we select specifically the mentors who we believe are genuine, have a track record, have a history of good trading, are willing to put up live trades, are willing to stand by what they're doing. And, you know, we've been to many courses, we've read books, we've done the CDs, the one-on-one tuition. And this is one of the reasons we formed Pelican, to give people a guide of really where they can get advice that's going to point them in the right direction with their trading journey. So from the Wild West, we go to the next slide. Please, Simon, thank you. I'll just find this in my notes, hold on a minute. Yeah, so the checklist when considering a mentor. Perhaps the first and most important thing is price, how much they're charging. Now, if it's 10, 20, 30,000 pounds, that's an immediate warning bell. If that's what they're asking for you straight off. No serious mentor will demand a huge amount of money. That's the kind of money that should be in your trading account, not going on education. What are they actually teaching you? The strategy. Obviously incredibly important. It's got to suit you. You've got to decide what kind of trader you want to be, and there will be an element of trial and error here. How much time have you got? You know, do you want to be an intraday trader short term, or do you want to hold longer positions? Well, what's your style? What kind of personality do you have? Do you have a full-time job? If that's so, you're going to need a very different mentor to somebody who's going to be able to concentrate this and try and turn it into a full income. The other interesting factor I'd point out is, you know, a good trader isn't necessarily a good teacher. So, you know, many of the mentors, of course, are excellent traders. We see even more great traders on our platforms who would be hopeless mentors and would not suit anyone's style or be worth following. They're just too random. So I think style and building your own style is just so important in this area. So are they accountable? Can you see them trade? If somebody just gives you, with the benefit of hindsight, a number of trades they've done on the past and said, hey, look at the money I've made. You know, fine, that's fine, nothing wrong with that in itself. But if they can't also trade live and show you what they're doing, show you the opinions on what the markets are going to do in the future, then what on earth use is that to anyone who's following them? So what is the end product? We've sort of dealt with that. Are they independently endorsed? Can they demonstrate form? Very important. So on Pelican, all the live trades are up there. They're in their history. You can see them. You can see exactly what they're doing. It's not simply like getting recommended somebody by a friend or believing promises online. It's there. You can see their performance. And certainly look out for the upsell. As I was saying, point number one, some of these big prices, you know, they might start with a free seminar all day. And we're talking about the bad eggs here. There aren't many of them. They'll get you in there. They'll say, well, you know, £1,500 will get you a, you know, another course, 3-day course. And you get great, I want to learn more. And then before you know it, you're into the big money. And I think, you know, a lot of people talking to this just won't be something that's affected them. They're at the next stage, that they understand what they're doing with their trading. But for people who are very fresh into it and are promised, you know, literally people are promising fast cars, you know, immediate riches, like winning the lottery. It's just something to be wary of if you're very new to it. Hero trades and hero traders, same sort of thing. Anyone can have a lucky run, get it right for a bit. That's not what we're looking for on Pelican. We're looking for people with a solid track record. Of course, people are going to have down weeks, down months. I'm afraid that goes with the territory. Trading is very difficult. You will have failures along the way. As long as you realize that, it will set you in good stead to become a successful and profitable trader, hopefully with the aid of a mentor. So, brilliant, Simon, thanks. I think we've done that slide. Simon, you there? Oh, brilliant, thank you. So this is pretty much on the same topic, beware. So I went along to a course, a person who will remain completely nameless. And this was on my chair when I got in there. Actually, so this wasn't on my chair. It was the full prices that were on my chair when I got into the seminar. About an hour later, lo and behold, they'd been discounted. And of course, these are huge sums of money. 50,000 discounted to 24,000. Well, what's that? You know, 2 or 3 years school fees. 34,500. What's that? As long as you haven't got very expensive taste, that's a pretty decent sports car. again, £15,000, you know, there's your conservatory or maybe a small extension. But if you bought any of those things with that money, you get some kind of guarantee or a warranty that, you know, with your car, you're going to get a 5-year warranty. This being a totally unregulated area beyond the reach of the FCA, you are, you've got to be wary of this, because there's no comeback. And what is happening here is by throwing a big number at potential students, 20, 30, 50,000, it makes them think they're getting something amazing for their money. And in my experience on that course, to be honest, it was something that you could have got for £4.99 on Amazon, and you'd have got a much better idea of what's going on. Now, I'm not saying some of these people can't trade, they probably can, but they decide the only way they can make money out of it is by upselling the courses. This is a minority of mentors. I'm just going through this to make people aware of what to avoid. Right, brilliant. If they're so good at trading, why are they mentors? Sorry, I just had a sip of water. This is the question, isn't it? It's the question that keeps on coming up, and it's a very fair question to ask. It's also quite a tricky question to answer sometimes, because you're thinking, well, you know, honestly, why are they mentors? Why are they not just trading? So I think the answer to that is some of these guys like an audience, they like to talk, and they really enjoy it. They may have had a career in a city as a trader, they may have done a lot of their own personal trading, and it's something they enjoy. Secondly, almost all traders' incomes are quite, you know, have a bumpy element to them. As I've already mentioned, a month down here, month down there, big up month. This, of course, you know, with if a mentor is operating with a monthly subscription model, as many are on Pelican, then that gives them a steady income and something to smooth out the ups and downs of their own trading. You know, I mean, ironically, you know, one of the best traders on our platform who takes huge positions, you know, has no interest in being a mentor at all. And, you know, he said, if you want my trades, you can have them. But that isn't really the mentor we want either, because, you know, we want somebody who is going to help us learn to trade, to become our own kind of trader, with the mentor giving us advice and being in the background. Great, so I think we're on to the next. Sorry, Simon, yes?
Yeah, no, I just thought I'd come in here because I've obviously had a lot of interaction with traders and trading mentors over the years through doing the live seminars and, of course, all the webinars. And it's true to be said that there are a lot, and they are absolutely genuine in their assertion that they do make money from trading.
Yes.
Whether it's lots or just enough for them, it doesn't really matter. And they love to get involved, and this is often the case. Some of them will come on and do these webinars even.
Yes.
It's just because, of course, it's a lonely pursuit to be sitting at your desk trading away. You don't have that trading floor psychology, so you grasp onto these opportunities as a retail trader to sort of just bounce off ideas of charts, and this whole thing of social trading that's taking off is very relevant, and a lot of these traders, they get a lot of enjoyment, a lot of sort of just a good feel from getting involved with having a group.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and certainly the mentors on Pelican, you know, the ones who are on there now have shown that, and you know, it's like having a teacher at school. You know, if they, you know, the teachers you remember are the ones who had enthusiasm for their topic, and the mentors speaking today, they have real enthusiasm for what they're doing. Of course, if you get someone who stands up and says, you know, when I trade, you know, I pay for my skiing holiday by putting a trade on in the airport and then closing it out when I get to my skiing holiday. This is the stuff I've heard, absolute nonsense. What we want is people, trading is hard, they accept it, but they're great teachers and they're enthusiastic, and they make it fun, they make it enjoyable. And in a group at Pelican, what you get is sort of the power of the crowd, that you can, you know, sort of the wisdom and the power of the crowd that can improve students' decisions. And we'll touch more on this later, but yeah, it's so again, perhaps go straight on to the next slide. It's not just about the performance. We've been through some of the mentors that you have to be wary of. There aren't very many of them. Many of the mentors, especially on Pelican, have a great following and are able to give you the skills at the end of a course that's going to make it very worthwhile for you. So we've got some of the other valuable lessons that can be learned from mentors. So if we just go back a slide, I think, Simon. Sorry, back one. Yeah, this is the one. Thank you. Risk management, everyone will say it who trades, is absolutely vital, whether that's 1%, 2%, or it's a system of compounding. That you know, the way you manage your risk is absolutely vital, and it's certainly, that is probably the single biggest error you can make when you begin to trade. It is not to manage, is money management. Managing your trade behavior, trading is very, you know, you can learn fundamentals, the importance of discipline, sticking to your system, whatever the system the mentor is a proponent of, and remembering not to deviate from your strategy. So, you know, I speak to traders, you know, very regularly, and a lot of them will say, well, I was going really well with my trading, and then I had this sudden idea that I thought I had a big edge on the euro dollar, and I took a large position. It went wrong. It knocked me out. Now, what we hope is if you're in a group at Pelican, you'll be encouraged by your friends, and you'll be able to discuss a trade before you go into it. So they'll say, well, listen, be sensible, stick to your 2% risk, or whatever that is. So another thing is market strategy focus, market focus. Of the traders I speak to and the mentors, again, that are some of whom I follow myself, focusing on a small group or a handful of markets is proven to give you a better chance of success, more likely to get an edge in that scenario than if you're trying to do everything. If everyone's trading gold, silver, the FTSE, I mean, I know you can trade in anything, but some kind of focus, even if it's in different markets like that, but just not trying to do too much is really important. Another thing to be worried about, I mean, if there's no after-sales service, so all the mentors on Pelican, they charge a sensible amount and they want to keep you on board and they have a plan for you. If somebody ever says, you know, £10,000 for the course, after 3 months you learn actually nothing, see you later, waste of time. We don't want that. So Pelican's a great environment for mentors to give that after-sales effort, keep them in their groups, but perhaps have a different rate for people who are almost there as traders. So people aren't going to necessarily charge the same amount of money or anything like that, but they want to see you through the journey. You know you can find your mentor on Pelican, and it gives you that security and peace of mind as you grow as a trader. So the community and the power in the crowd, I've already touched on that within the group in Pelican, and you'll have to, if you haven't already, download it and see for yourself that, you know, the ability to chat and interact, it really is the unique feature of Pelican in a fully regulated environment. You can't do that on any other trading platform. So I think perhaps if we move to the next slide, brilliant. What is Pelican now? Because we already covered this a bit. Mobile app, the desktop's coming in 3 to 4 months. And we're very aware here that most traders trade on desktop. We wouldn't pretend our charts replace the desktop charts yet, which is why we're going to have a desktop version and a much fuller and actually top of the range desktop charting package there. But currently only a mobile app. And the next slide, please, Simon. Great, thank you. Just find my notes. So here we have it. Here's the mobile screen, Pelican on it, best-in-class trading platform. We don't pretend to be better at execution than IG. That's what we're aiming for. That's what they do. We're just as good as them. Over 1,500 markets. That's a lot. Again, it's not everything. The one thing we don't currently have is options. But the great thing is if you want a market, we can add it within 24 hours. Just give it a ring, bang, you're there. It'll be there for you in 24 hours. I know that we're in the process now of getting Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of these cryptocurrencies onto the Pelican platform. So top right, if you see connect with other traders, this is really important. So on the app, I've already discussed the groups that mentors are able to head and educate students, show their trades, really like no other scenario out there at the moment within a regulated environment. There's also the option for private groups. So you and your friends say, well, we're not just talking about novice traders here. People, have shown interest to work in banks, trade themselves. They can get together with their friends, like they do on Bloomberg terminals in their profession, form a group, discuss trades, get the latest market info off their mates. And that's something that all levels of traders can do. Not everything has to be public. You can have a completely private group, just like on WhatsApp. Discuss trade with your mates. So the other really important thing on this page is bottom left, the only FCA regulated social platform. Now we spent 3.5 years getting a particular kind of RDR compliance, which effectively makes everyone operating on Pelican an investment manager. It's like being a fund manager. So that being the case, everyone is able to copy, tap on the trade, copy it, or even inverse it if they want to. And no other platform is regulated to do that, but fully by the FCA. The aim of it is really for retail traders who view and share their trades with each other in this environment. WhatsApp meets Bloomberg meets broker. There we are. So that's marvelous. On to the next slide, please, Simon. Why is Pelican relevant to finding a mentor? Well, it's kind of been I think we'll go straight on to the next slide here, which has got some information on the marketplace for mentors, please. Thank you. So yes, when Pelican was started up by my computer reader, it wasn't really envisaged that we were going to become the marketplace for mentors. We knew they knew they had a great idea to create a truly social trading platform. What they didn't realize is that this whole area of mentors that would sink in with our ideas. And it's really so important that we attract the best mentors willing to show that they're live trades. And just going through a couple of these, I noticed, so Audacity Capital, he's later in the presentation, great friend and support of ours. Easy Trader, Charlie Burton, Master Markets, Rishi and Through, Trader Noble, Brian Noble. We've got some really great traders on here, Steve Ruffley, Carol Chalmer, who's been mentioned before. So there's lots to be excited about in the groups currently on Pelican. And we'll go to the next slide, please. Great, so as mentioned before, Karim, so he's a great friend of ours who's been really the first mentor to get up and running on the app. Expert trader and analyst, manages 30 traders at the Audacity Capital trading floor in Shoreditch, nearby our offices here. Founded the Hidden Talents program for financial traders and trading. So this is a kind of high-end program for people who want to become professional traders. He's an easygoing personality, a great trader, has managed funds in several banks and hedge funds in the Middle East, and has had in-depth knowledge of FX markets, macroeconomics, etc., etc. And he has formed 2 groups, Pelican, as a mentor. And I think in the next slide, please, there's further information on those groups, or should be. Creamies from Pelican, that's right. 2 public groups launched well, it's a bit out of date, so they launched about 2 or 3 months ago. You can see here, if you haven't downloaded the app, that's roughly what it looks like now. Again, it's not completely up-to-date version, but you can see the various groups there. And so Karim has 2 groups, one specializing in Forex, Audacity Capital Forex, the other one in commodities, Audacity Capital Commodities. And this really is the salient point about Pelican, that this allows Karim to be answerable to his followers. if a mentor says, well, this is the way I select stocks, this is the way I trade Forex, go do it, you'll make money. Well, that's great, you may do. Maybe he's giving you gems of absolute wisdom, but on Pelican, you see, right, show me how to make money. Trade live, the proof's in the pudding. So we're not looking back retrospectively with the benefit of hindsight, you know, like looking at yesterday's racing results in the Times or something like that. This, you know, is a thoroughly transparent way for people to teach becoming a trader in the financial markets and learning by your own mistakes and seeing how real professionals trade. So I urge you to go and visit Karim's group on the app and see what he's up to. Now there should be more on this, I think. Great. Audacity Capital Forex. There's some examples so you can see when you go within the group. So on the previous screen, you'd have tapped on Karim's group, and you can see here, it's a little bit like WhatsApp in the way that people can post messages. But vitally, you can also see the trades there. And we will see on the program next screen the way you can interact with them. But it's very much, so since Karim's been up there, he's, of course, not every trader's won, no one can do that, but he has been profitable. One thing that's come out of it is that you know, you really, if you want to follow a mentor and follow his trades, you do have to do them all. Of course, if you do 25% of their trades and end up making a loss, of course, you're bringing a randomness into it. You really have got to do every one of their trades with the same parameters. So when you do copy a trade, what you will find is you will get the option to copy or invert it. And the same parameters will come up for the stop loss and so on. So you're not just copying the trade, you're putting in the proper stop loss and limit and whatever the mentor has put up there. I just mentioned this, using smaller stakes to ensure accessibility. So I think Karim generally, I mean, he trades on a live account, or all mentors are asked to do that. And he trades on £1 per pip, which is, you know, accessible to most people looking to learn to trade. That's great. I think if we go to the next slide, please, Sonny. So here we go again. Here's a nice little feature of the app. And I think actually if we could probably just go back one slide, if I could point something out on the previous. So yeah, you'll see in this group, to the right of the name in capital letters, Audacity Capital Forex, you can see a sort of bar chart type sign. If one presses that, you get to the next slide, which shows the leaderboard and the performance. Now, only trades placed within the group. So this is where our sort of how-to guide comes into play. We're looking, when you trade within the group, you've got to press the yellow trade button at the bottom left-hand corner of the group. That trader will then come into the group. If you want to do a private trade, you do it outside of a group on the main market page. But the idea of this leaderboard is quite simple, and you can see we've not followed all of his trades. If we had, we'd have made the same amount of money. Now, Karim's made £237. This was 2 months ago. He's now made quite a bit more. Clearly, we haven't been doing our job following him. If you miss a trade, I mean, I would add, you get a notification on your phone if you want it. There is a mute the group feature, but if you want the notification to come up from a particular group, you can get it. But if you immediately copy, you'll make a very similar amount of profit. But that's not all of it. It's about interacting with Karim in the group. He's there to answer your questions. You can question his trades. Ask him, why are you doing that? You know, that's really what Pelican's all about. Not simply copying, which is why we don't have auto-copy, because that's not really what the line we're going down. It's about people learning to become good traders in their own right. Right, so I think if we go to the next slide and see what it brings us, that'd be great, Simon. Just find this on my slide. So what else can you do on Pelican? Lots else. We'll see in the following slide. Please, Simon. So we will have touched on some of this before. So just to explain our broking facility. So we're a small company. So we started up, the app's been online for 18 months. It got reskinned about beginning of January this year, the new version released. In our current size, our liquidity provider, i.e. the underlying broker, is Intertrader. They're based in Gibraltar. They're fully regulated themselves, but under the Gibraltar financial regulation. They're also owned by a major PLC who owns BWin Party and other things, a £1 billion plus company, and that just extends the safety net of depositing money with them. They're absolutely safe as houses. It's already been mentioned, 1,500 markets, world-beating spreads, trades can be kept private or made public. You'll notice, so this is the first screen we've had with the flashing red and blue that you can see on any platform. And when you place a trade from a group, when you press, you'll then get an option to search the markets or to press watch list. And many of the mentors will have shown the importance of having a watch list. You know, it focuses you in on what you're trading. The graphs, we have graphs, they're better than that. Now, in fact, that's an old picture. We now have a horizontal line that moves as a live price, and they're slightly fuller and richer than that. We're not trying to replace a desktop. That version's coming out in 3 or 4 months, but it's a nice little resource to have on the app when you're trading. That's great. So I think if we go to the next slide, see what else we can do on Pelican. Yeah, so this is something we haven't touched on. So this is kind of Twitter meets trading. You can create your own trading profile. This here again is Mike Reed, one of the founders. You can see there and access a sort of a bio. The person's trading history. You don't have to put it up there. Most people put a little about themselves. You know, trading 6 months, trading 6 years, professional trader, whatever it might be. You can find all of out about them. And there's also the ability to follow others and be followed. So that's quite an exciting concept. So what we have allied to these groups, we have a feed. Now, the feed on the app will be the trades of those you have followed, if the followers have allowed people to see their trades. So you can be private, but again, you can be public. Now, that's a nice concept. You might want to follow a trader who you're particularly interested in. They might not be a mentor. They might just be somebody else on the app. As I've mentioned, there are lots of good traders on the app. It's not just a case of 40-odd mentors and no one else can trade. Not at all. So you have the ability to follow them, to be followed, and that facility, it's excellent. You know who you're talking to. You know who you're speaking to. It's just like if you follow someone on Twitter, you know all about them. You can do the same on Pelican. But of course, the topic is generally trading. And so let's see what else we have. No hidden agenda. It's all transparent. But we're not trying to sort of take data and details and sell it on it. We're all completely transparent. We're simply trying to bring together a community of traders to benefit from what's on Pelican. Of course, we're a broker. We make money from the spread, albeit less than a normal broker because we're using Intertrader's prices. But that's the business model. And profiles formatted to optimize information. Well, as you can see, it's a slightly technical way of saying it's all there. It's easy to read. The user experience is good. I think over time, we will improve these features significantly, but the first shot is a good one. So it says here we're going to add metrics according to the demand. So I mentioned earlier that the leaderboard feature, it's an apps. Currently it's absolute return. So theoretically, somebody could make a £300 a point trade. Sounds rather large. Make 1 pip, and that would show us £300. Now, obviously, we need to finesse that and make sure there's a track record of people's proper proportionate trading performance, so that it just irons out any idiosyncrasies of the trade of the figures there. That's great. So that gives you hopefully an idea of more of what's on Pelican. Which incidentally, I mean, you can discover this literally within 10 minutes of being on the app. You get a free demo account. You can just sort of, fiddle around with it without any danger of, any live funds at risk or anything. And I recommend doing that. So the next slide, thank you, Simon. Interact with traders. We've covered a bit of this. So create your own groups, public or private. Again, that has two modes. The left-hand mobile has got the groups there. Again, they've changed since this has been done. The right-hand groups, again, another example of chatting within a group. Great, so I think we'll move on from that. Join other groups. You can be members, of course, of as many or as little groups as you like. So, as I said, there are roughly 40 mentors. The nice thing is you can be in all their groups, but you don't receive notifications from all of them. You can just mute that group, and as I say, you can just keep notifications coming from 2 or 3 groups. It allows you to, so your phone isn't buzzing the whole time, or you're getting unwanted notifications. So having interacted with the traders, which really is the whole point of Pelican, it's all about interaction and helping out the trading. We go to this next stage, which this is in fact what it looks like on an Android phone. It's slightly different on an iPhone. Again, it's much more interesting. What I was talking about earlier, the ability when you tap on a trade, you can see there, interact with this trade, copy, inverse, view chart. Now, obviously, if you're following a mentor, the likelihood is you'll copy. If you were to inverse or challenge a mentor on a trade, it would be an unusual thing to do, but the facility is there to do it. It could be worth mentioning at this point that some brokers, I don't know if you're aware of this, do B-book, which effectively means they bet against their clients' positions. This has been shown to be a profitable strategy. It's not something we agree with. Intertrader themselves are a market neutral broker. They just take the spread. I could reel off dozens of names of brokers. In fact, almost every other one does B-book. That means they basically create a book themselves. They don't hedge off all their position. They let it run. They want losing traders. They show scant regard to their client, who generally lose their money quite quickly, which is why they have to spend so much money advertising. That, £100,000 gets them 100 clients. We're talking about 100 active trading clients. We don't have the means or the wish to advertise like that. It's not part of our model. We don't agree with B-booking. But I think, strangely enough, that's partly why the inverse option is there, because if you're a sort of slightly cynical person, you could theoretically follow somebody who you don't think is a very good trader and inverse every one of their trades. And I'm not suggesting you should try and do that, but anyway, the inverse option is there. It's a fun and potentially useful feature. But we can see here, it's just that ability to copy a trade that's not there with other platforms. There are other platforms that do copy trading, but it's without this interaction that you get within the group, which has proved so popular with mentors and regular users. Great, so I don't know what we've got next time. Is there any more? Right, find and connect with the best traders. So we're trying to create an environment that's social on your terms. We don't want people feeling they're giving away trades or anything else that they don't want to. The option to operate on a completely private basis there. You share what you want with who you want. That's what we're aiming for. But we want the mentors to share everything. And we're very lucky to have guys who are willing to show their live trades. Attracts the better quality mentor, there's no doubt about it.
I guess the question on everybody's lips right now is, do you have to have an extra long iPhone for it to work?
Well, yeah, that's very, very true. I think what you're seeing there is the designer giving you a sneak preview of the beveled edge iPhone 9, which will be coming out in 2 years' time. So that's all free.
There we are.
Yeah, no, you're correct.
Nothing is.
Perhaps not the best slide in the world. But
No, thanks. Just before we
So
begin
who you follow and how you're alerted is up to you. Again, I've mentioned the notifications. You don't have to follow anyone. You can come onto Pelican. You don't have to chat with anyone, speak with anyone. You can do it all, but that really would be missing out, because really the whole benefit of it is being able to discuss your trades in the market, and get some great content out there. It's not all mentors trading. We've got groups where people are putting up news, tidbits about the market, info, stuff you can get elsewhere, but you can't get it on a platform where you can trade as well. We're trying to put everything in the same place. I mean, it's been mentioned that we're trying to be a Bloomberg Light for the retail trader, which sounds rather grandiose, but effectively we're trying to bring the professional advantage of being able to interact with other traders, the wisdom of the crowd, to the retail market. And that's the bottom line proposition here. We're not perfect, but yeah.
Just to be clear, Peter, people don't have to open a trading account just to have access to the groups. Is that correct?
So yeah, you're quite right. So currently, it is all apps. Well, it will always be free to download. It will always be free to have a demo account. Currently, all the groups are free to access. What we are doing in the future is bringing in a paywall facility for the mentors. Now, we won't set the prices. It will give the mentor the ability to charge a subscription, for example, £50 per month, if that's what we decided, each month to his followers from within the group. Now, it may be the mentor has, in addition to being on Pelican, they all do have a website. They might even have some kind of email service, but they might decide to charge their students via Pelican as well as operating on that system. And the further one to remember, there are a lot of advantages to mobile. I mean, who wants to be stuck at their desk 16 hours a day trading? You want to be able to check on your trades. You want to be able to, if a mentor has a sort of live trading room environment, this is great. You can just check up if you've got any positions running, or if you haven't, you just want to check out what the mentor's doing. If is the market quiet, if it suddenly gets hectic, people have busy lives. This is Pelican's trying to very much fit into that.
So everybody on Round the Clock Trader is very sophisticated, experienced traders. They might be interested. Someone here might be interested in actually becoming a mentor themselves. Opening up a group. Are there any? Is there a criteria or any sort of set down hurdles to someone within that position?
Yes, I think the answer to this is currently anyone can set up a public group and show their trades. If somebody wants to start charging for those trades, we'd want to see a track record. We don't want people being charged money from the unlikely event we had a chancer who didn't know what they're doing. But the reality is I've had lots of experienced traders approach me at trade fairs and elsewhere who are currently giving a signal service on Twitter, who have a system they believe is working. They consider themselves pro traders, but they don't consider themselves mentors, and that's getting these people into the mentoring world and giving them a source of income, giving them a source of income they didn't think they had the option of getting, and also giving a retail market these extra sources of pro traders signals where they can properly trade live, not simply a vague post on Twitter, because as you know, I mean, you can't, it's a grey area. You can't charge in an unregulated environment to give financial advice. On Pelican, the ability is there for people to do that. But the answer is yes, that there are criteria. There are some people, some mentors we haven't invited onto the app because we don't like the way they operate. And I mentioned earlier that the minority of mentors who operate a massive upselling scheme, we're not interested in that. But there are so many great mentors, great personalities who've written books on the topic, had 20, 30 years experience, like someone like Carol in the Life Exchange, who are fun to be around and make this whole thing fun. I mean, all of us at Pelican, we love trading. We want to make money, we don't, but we all want it to be fun, and it is fun. And I think that really comes across with those who like Pelican and like the chat and the trade together like this. You touched on, and perhaps I haven't spoken enough about the fact that it's a very lonely pursuit, trading. Everyone says that. Well, this potentially can change it.
What about hacking? Those pesky hackers. Is it an issue?
Sounds dangerous.
Is that know anything about it? Is there any special firewalls and things to?
Yeah, I mean everything's fully encrypted, and we don't take any risks with other people's information. To be honest, I mean that is in the hands of the highly qualified and paid developers we have. We have a team here who built the app from scratch. Of course, it's their job to secure it as well. So fortunately we've had no, as you say, no pesky hackers or any other kind of hacker. I guess anyone, as has been proved recently with the cyber attack on the NHS, almost anyone is vulnerable to some kind of attack, and we wouldn't. No one's infallible, but I would. Yeah, we haven't had any problems before. Thanks.
Sure, all the relevant balances are there. Caroline says, "What size of trading is this?" A little while ago, you put up the screen which showed Peter and Mike's and Kareen's trading.
Yes.
It looked quite small, the returns and the losses as well were quite small. Was that just that particular example?
That's that particular example, yes. So if you go into Six Financial, spelled S1X Financial, they're a group of German algorithmic traders. I mean, they go in larger size. I think the reason is that Karim really, I mean, he's giving a signal when he does his trade at £1 a point. He's not, he's himself running his own trade. He's a slightly special case because he's running his own trading floor. So one would think that's probably, in his case, not his main trading account. But for others it is, for Six Financial it is, and they trade in what you could call more grown-up sizes, I guess. But £1 a point can add up, and certainly on some stocks, if you're trading £1 a point in Google or whatever it is a share, that's actually quite a big bet.
Frank says, "What about does Pelican have a trading room focus on Forex?"
Yes, good question. The large majority, probably the majority of groups have a Forex element to them. So Forex trading is by far the most popular on Pelican. I can't say whether that's something that's industry-wide. I suspect it is. So the intraday traders who tend to trade in currencies is the most popular type of trading. Is there a room specifically for Forex? Well, certainly Karim's group is Forex. There are other groups whose sole purpose is Forex. But what I find is that many of the mentors, they'll trade Forex, they'll trade maybe some indices, but not generally indices, Forex and commodities. Although anything's possible. But certainly he'll. If it was Brian, did you say?
Frank.
Sorry, Frank. If Frank was to come on to Pelican, he'd find plenty of action in Forex and interest in it. So I recommend he does so.
Yeah, you can sort of find these groups based on Forex and the profiles of the groups. I guess you can sort of search through them. Yeah,
exactly. So each group, if you press the group and then you press the top right button, which is kind of the settings. In fact, on the screen it's up at the moment, it looks like an anchor with spikes on it. It's got a proper name, apologies, I don't know what it is. But you will then, the screen will sort of flip around, you have a profile of the trader, and there briefly, if they say that, well, we specialize in Forex, then boom, you're in there for a Forex trader. We are honing the way in which people can find groups, the way the performance is tabled, to make it more user-friendly is kind of our next stage of development. It's not to say it's hopeless at the moment, it's not, but it's just something we're going to be concentrating on in the future. So currently, the best way to do it is to perhaps, literally, you'll probably, if you just literally, if all you've ever done in trading is listen to the webinar so far, you'll be able to go and find people who've spoken today. But if there are any queries, don't hesitate to get in contact with me. I don't know, Simon, is my email address up there? Is it possible to get it up there? If anyone would like to email me.
In the chat box. Again, is it
don't
Peter?
Worry if it isn't.
Peter.Watson?
Yeah, it says peter.watson at pelicanexchange.com. Peter.watson at pelicanexchange.com. So, we're here all day, answer your queries, and don't hesitate to do so. We want feedback. We're not. We don't pretend we have all the answers. We want the trading community and our clients, and whether they be demo account holders or hopefully later down the line live account holders, to have their thoughts and comments and make it a better experience. So it's absolutely the idea of it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Peter, thank you very much. Are there any more slides? I think no. I think that was the final slide there. So I like it. I think it's great fun. I'm sort of managing the round the clock trader group, and it's great to see so many of you joining up into the group. It's a rather informal version of really what Pelican's about. We're not actually offering trading signals and things in that group, but rather more of a social group to keep people aware and updated about the various webinars, and of course the speakers are pitching in there if they have any big news or big events or anything like that happening. So
that's absolutely great. So I think that just one thing I'll mention is that I've been talking about the app and what you can do on it. We're not another way we keep in contact with traders, and you can come and meet us at we have Pelican Pints once a month. I think the next date I haven't properly arranged. I've got two things going on next month, probably the second week of June. But if you go to the meetup.com website and look for Pelican Pints, you'll find it. Join our group, and then you'll get a notification of when the next meetup is. We've also got Trader Noble, Brian Noble, who's going to be coming to office on the 22nd of June, giving a talk. It's exciting. He'll shortly be live up on the app. So it's all happening, and really, we just, like I say, trading can be lonely. We want people to not only meet on the app, but to meet in person, and to, really, like you say, Simon, bring a social element to it that's just not been out there before in the same way.
Fantastic. I'm just putting that website again in the chat box. Anybody who wants to go ahead and just download the app, they can do so. Brilliant. Have a play with it. Peter Watson, Head of Business Development at Pelican Exchange, thank you very much for coming and joining us. We're out of time, and I'll need to welcome our next speaker. So we'll talk again, but thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Simon. Can't thank you enough. Sure.
Yeah. Fun.